October 31st, 2022 and have never been registered. Apply for change or correction to your registration information such as names, date of birth and occupation. Apply for a transfer if you have changed your address since you were registered. Apply for a replacement ID card if your ID card was lost, stolen, damaged or destroyed. You must bring along original documents to support your application. Don't delay. Visit the GCOM registration office responsible for your area today. For more information, visit www.gcom.org.gy. Follow us on Facebook at Guyana Elections Commission or contact us on 225-02779 or 223-9653. Email pro@gcom.org.gy.
This is the news on top of the hour.
Live from our studio in Georgetown.
Kaieteur Radio, 99.1 FM.
Good day, welcome to your news at noon on Kaieteur Radio. I'm Kevin Smith. Let's get to the news in detail. Given the current provisions in the 2016 production sharing agreement inked between the government of Guyana and ESSO, along with their partners, coupled with how the stakeholders are expending money and the prevailing market conditions, there is a growing conclusion that ExxonMobil needs Guyana more than Guyana needs Exxon. This was the conclusion of Martina Dominic of the non-profit global organization Avaz, which earlier this week hosted a webinar with members of the Global Media Corps to speak on a global movement that has been gaining momentum with regard to bringing about a better deal for the country or to halt the operations altogether. The forum was organized in order to call on the EPA head Kemraj Parsuram to not renew the Liza 1 environmental permit when it expires next Tuesday, unless and until there are additional restrictions embedded as well as fiscal reforms. Dominic, a senior campaigner with Avaz leading the campaign against ExxonMobil, told those in attendance virtually, "This is a really bad deal for Guyana, environmentally and financially. Simply put, the people of Guyana may not see this money back." Meanwhile, gold mining giant Oh My Gold Mines Corp yesterday announced that in its expanded drilling operations, it has come across another significant find, recording ore containing gold at just over 5 grams per ton of ore mined. It was noted too that expanding the Wenot resource into these unmined areas is significant for an ultimate mine plan, as these could contribute to lower strip ratio starter pits for the larger Wenot deposit. Meanwhile, about 18 residents of Canal Number 1, West Bank Demerara, have attached their signatures to a letter addressed to the EPA, citing a breach of their right of the prior consultation for the proposed gas-to-energy pipeline to be constructed by ExxonMobil in partnership with the government. In a letter dated May 26th to the Executive Director of the regulatory agency, Mr. Kemraj Parsuram, the citizens said they were never consulted and called for the suspension of the 60-day period, which was opened to allow persons with concerns to register same with the EPA. And now let's tell you, according to the 2016 production sharing agreement signed between the country and an ExxonMobil-led consortium, the joint venture is required to clean up and safely remove subsea infrastructure after it has emptied all the oil and gas from the respective fields. This cleanup exercise is done approximately 2 decades after operations begin and certain fields in the Stabroek Block. Interestingly, Guyana's authorities have allowed Exxon and its partners to start recovering the cleanup money even before a cent is spent. But of even more concern is that while Guyana has offered Exxon and its partners this unusual privilege, the country seems to have no plan in place to ensure the companies actually have money set aside for the cleanup activities. Director of the Institute of Energy Economics and Financial Analysis, Tom Sanzillo, is adamant that this is not the way things are done in the oil industry. And now let's tell you, taking into account the uninformed manner in which the government has been providing, among other things, financial relief to sections of the country, labor unions and other civil society bodies have expressed grave concern over the continued use of handouts to citizens rather than employment of useful measures such as increasing the meager $44,200 minimum wage to address the rising cost of living. The General Workers Union held another round of its more than 2-month running protest action yesterday, this time in front of the Ministry of Labour's Brickdam office, and with the support of civil society group Article 13. Given the increased cost of living and particularly rising food prices, the GWU has been relentless in seeking the pay increase, which was agreed to since 2019 with the former administration and later committed to by the current PPP government. Prominent Article 13 member Yog Mahadio expressed solidarity with the underpaid workers. He said that the government must stop talking about increasing workers' wages and just do it. And now let's tell you the decomposing remains of 41-year-old Omega Alt was found in her Crane West Coast Demerara home on Friday afternoon. According to police, her brother discovered her body around 17 hours. He reportedly did not hear from her for a while and she was not responding to her phone calls. Worried about her safety, he decided to pay her a visit and made the gruesome discovery. Police have since issued a wanted bulletin for her husband, Clarence Farley. Anyone who knows where he might be are asked to contact the police. Meanwhile, police are looking for a man who on Thursday shot and killed a driver attached to the Ministry of Health at his Deepfield Sophia home. The dead man has been identified as 43-year-old Colin McPherson, a father of 4. McPherson was gunned down around 21 hours 40. We learned that McPherson was at the time sitting in front of his home fraternizing with some friends when a blue-masked gunman ran up and shot him. McPherson reportedly turned around and ran inside of his home, but the gunman followed and shot him at least 3 more times until he was dead. 2 of McPherson's children were at home at the time when he was brutally murdered. Get the full details in today's Kaieteur News. And moving on, for a period of 5 weeks, the MV Kanawan, which usually operates between Parika and Supanam, will be docked for rehabilitative works. According to a notice posted on the Transport and Harbours Department's Facebook page yesterday, the vessel will be out of service from June 1st. And during the 5 weeks, the department stated that the MV Sabanto, which also operates the same route as the Kanawan, will be departing Supanam at 5 hours daily and work on a touch-and-go basis as traffic warrants and tide permitting. As a result of this, there will be no formal schedule for the month of June. And to wrap things up, the 50-year-old Port Kaituma woman who reportedly confessed to stabbing her husband to death in their kitchen before heading to bed was charged with manslaughter after she appeared in court earlier this week. The defendant, Ines Richards, a farmer of 10 miles Port Kaituma, made her first court appearance on Tuesday at the Georgetown Magistrates Courts. Richards appeared before Magistrate Delon Bess, where the charge was read to her. She was not required to plead to the charge, which alleges that between May 19th and May 20th at 10 miles Port Kaituma, she killed a 43-year-old Felix Henry, who was a chainsaw operator. Richards was granted bail in the sum of $750,000 and is expected to return to court on August 5th. And just before we wrap things up for your news at noon, of course, as usual, we turn the pages of today's Kaieteur News to page 7, dedicated to being blunt. Liza 1 permit renewal is a godsend. We have waited and we have borne our chafe with an oil contract that enslaved us for years. Now there is this first glimmer of opportunity to escape from the bondage in which Exxon's devastating oil contract has trapped Guyana. President Ali and Vice President Jagio must not miss this moment. This opportunity must not be wasted. The permit renewal must be jumped upon to extract from Exxon what is rightly due to every Guyanese. It is more benefits, as in more money coming to us and more protection for us. The Vice President and President must flex their muscles, show that they mean business, and stand eyeball to eyeball with Exxon and force it to treat Guyana in a fair manner, in a way that is acceptable to us. The more chicken feed, no more chicken feed money, no more fine change, no more playing at nice guys with sweet talk. This is serious business. President Ali and Vice President Jagdeo must deliver or forever hang their heads in shame. And that brings us to the end of today's News at Noon. I'm Kevin Smith. Thank you for listening.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands. Advertise today and watch your dollar grow. Call us on 225-8465 or 226-8210 today.
Experience more than award-winning speed. Way more. Get the best.